Welcome to another episode of the Angels, Positivity, and Love Show. Incredible guests, super distinguished from all over the world with amazing wisdom, experiences to share, and much more. But I would say they're also just bringing their high vibe. In this case, their creativity, their sparkle to share with all of us. So I'm super excited to welcome a guest born in Brazil, absolutely amazing, an American artist in LA. She's got a lot of different modalities, whether it's sculpture, she's done metalworking and welding back in the day, painting, you name it. She's a musical engineer as well. I'll let her describe her background and her career path, but she's here to share more heart and love to help us get out of duality and into the broader flow of creativity, consciousness, and just being. How about that? Silvia Poloto, welcome. It's so fantastic to have you here and always great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Silvia, tell us a little bit about the big picture. Before we get into your background, how you became an artist and everything else, what do you think it's all about for mankind right now? Now, this is a $1 billion question, but is it about more love, more consciousness? Is it about getting out of here to get to here? How do you like to try to describe the biggest of pictures?
Definitely it's more about the love right now. And yeah, and being more conscious. Yeah. There's a lot of disagreement and hate out there. And if we just do, each of us do our own thing and be present and conscious, I think that will make a huge difference, right?
If this is a heart journey for everyone, you were in your heart, or everyone has been in their heart at some point when they were at least a kid. And then being an adult, we got super serious, sometimes even a lot of self-importance coming in that clouds everything. How do you like to describe your heart journey and how your art and everything you do helps people get back to their hearts as well?
Yeah, all like I can talk about is myself, right? So my art helps me be in touch with something bigger than myself, right? And, and being true to my spirit, right? So like it's a sacred thing for me to create. And I have to remind myself of that because it's easy to get caught up by the ego and like when I'm making artwork, worried if people are going to like it or if I'm going to be able to sell it, but that should not be the the motivation, and it's not, but it's hard, especially for someone that makes art as a full time. I mean, like all my income comes from my art, so I do have those worries. But every time I see myself being dragged to that kind of stuff, I try to go back to my center and create from, that place that I'm aligned with my spirit, right? Does that make sense?
Totally, I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Before I do a quote for you from a NASA astronaut about getting out of the comfortable path, so before we get to something about that, can you tell us about your Brazilian background and how that has added some extra kick to you?
Yes. Um, my parents, they were both born in Brazil, but none of my grandparents were born in Brazil. Like the parents parents of my father, they came from Italy, and the parents of my mom, they came from Spain. And so my parents were born there, and they were very nice, but but it was like a very boring upbringing. Like I was not exposed to anything creative. Um, and like I had to I just followed my older brother's footsteps, like he became an engineer, an electrical engineer, and so did I. And I remember being creative when I was a child, and drawing, and I was thirsty for something, stimulating. but there wasn't anything. And so I created stories in my head all the time, and I, you know, but there was no support. And I'm like, this is really cool, or let's look at some art, or let's put you in a art class, or there was no such thing. And so I didn't even think that actually was a thing. So I ended up becoming an engineer and getting a job as an engineer. And then a few years went by, a couple of years, not that long. And I'm like, it's not the way life is supposed to be. Because like it felt like people were just waiting for the weekend, and like they had these boring jobs during the week. I'm like, there must be more than this. And so I ended up getting my master's degree during that time. And the master's degree was in business administration. And during it was not an engineering. I was looking for another angle or for something. And I came across a class in advertising, and I thought I had found my love, my passion, because I thought that was so interesting. I'm like, oh my God. But later I realized that that was my first encounter with something creative. That's why I'm like, oh my God. And I remember being in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like, it was a completely different world to me. And I did, within the company I was working for, I decided, it was a pretty big company, but I convinced them to let me do the advertising for the department I was working. And it was like very good. I loved it, every minute of it. And then at the same time, I met and got married. My husband was from Ireland, and we met. This is another story, but we met and got married super quick. It was like love at first sight, and we got married after 3 weeks. Anyway, so after a year, he had this idea for something he was doing at the time to move to San Francisco for 1 year and then move back. And so I quit my job. I'm like, this is actually a good idea. Let's go. I learn English. And then when I come back, I open my own advertising agency. So that's what I had in mind. But as I arrived and I was taking English classes, and I just started thinking and realized, I'm like, why did I even do engineering? I had never stop to think. I'm like, everything I did was like for the wrong reasons. It was like to prove that I could be as seen as smart as my brother, and everything went. And for a while, like I didn't know who I was, but I knew I was not an engineer. Um and I just one day I felt it was very strange. It's not like I went to a gallery, a museum, and I saw a welded steel sculpture. It was not that, like I just felt I wanted to work with metal. So I took a metal arts class at City College, and I thought that was actually big metal, but it was actually not. It was jewelry. But the teacher, he started seeing what I was doing, and he's like, you should try this sculpture class. And then I started welding. I took a welding class outside of City College, and I started welding steel sculptures. And I didn't even know that was something that existed. One day I was in a library and I came across a David Smith book, um, a welded steel sculpture. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I had invented. That's how I was like clueless about it. And one thing led to another. And like when the year was up, I didn't want to go back to Brazil. Because I mean, of course, I could have moved back and kept doing what I was doing, but it would be so much harder because there would be so many expectations of me. And I felt like I could just be me um, here. At least I didn't expect to stay as long as I have, but I just wanted more time. And then we ended up staying. And then I did, and I was so sure about what I wanted to do that my husband was super supportive, and he's like, what? He thought he had married an engineer, and then I was making art, but he was pleased. He could see that I was passionate about it. And then I started getting into shows, and then later I started doing photography, and then I started painting, and I started selling my work, and then after a while, it became my main thing. And then our son was born in San Francisco. Unfortunately, when our son was 8, my husband died. He got sick with a brain tumor, and he died, unfortunately. So I was not only a full-time artist, but I was a single mom. And so that was hard, but I did it somehow. Um, I think it's not for the faint of heart to just decide that you want to make art and make it work somehow. It's hard. I used to actually give advice, like people would, how, like a young person starting to make what the advice I used to give is different than the advice I would give today. I would say, yes, just do it, trust that that's going to happen. And as much as I think that's it is true, if that path is really the one for you, I believe that that's true. I think a more balanced decision would be to have a source of income and then do the art, which is very hard as well. And I don't necessarily regret at all, because I wouldn't have lived the life I have lived, and it has been pretty amazing. But it's just it's not for everybody. It's like I took big risks and I did crazy things. It all worked. But I mean, I cannot just say, yeah, go ahead, because it's going to work for anyone. So if you can, and also the pressure of like having to sell should not be something that a true artist should have, because it will uh, compromise the work you do. Um, it has not compromised my work. I'm glad to say I always do what I want to do. Um, but it's easily to fall into that, because I mean, I have felt tempted because my work is very diverse, and every time I start a new body of work, everything changes, because that's just my nature to do that. But there has been bodies of work that it, it did so well, and I knew that if I kept doing that, I would be okay, because it was selling so well. But at one point, I just said enough. Let me start this other thing. But and you might feel like that you just want to keep doing the same thing and you're happy doing that, and that's one thing. But then if you keep doing the same thing just because of like you're selling it, then it's not your expression anymore. It's just a job. And I feel like the work becomes stale. So it's really hard to balance. And so that's why I say it's not for anyone. And if you can, I mean, that's hard too, because like if you have a full-time job doing something else, it's how are you going to make time to make the art? It's hard. It's hard. But to take that jump and be like it's I mean, it worked for me and it might work for some, but don't know if it's for everybody.
Love it. Growth and expansion never stop. Next question for you is when and or where or at what moment in your life, whether you were little or it was last week, did you either have a dream, a moment with a stranger, you were in a gallery and their eyes were just crazy alive and they said something and it impacted you, or it shifted something, or you turned a corner, you woke up from a very real dream. Maybe a relative came in Did you have a moment with the universe walking down a street at a beach somewhere that was super pivotal and very unusual? You still flash back to it.
Yes, it was when I made my first sculpture. And it was by looking at it, I realized that I had not made the sculpture, that the sculpture had been made through me. And that really stuck with me. It was like a very powerful spiritual experience. I'm like, and that's the place I want the work to be made through me. I don't want to get caught up by whatever, and that's the state I try to be when I create, and when that happened, I'm like, this is what I came here for, is to create. I vow never to stop creating. This is my calling. It was that moment.
This may be a private question, so only share what you're totally comfortable sharing. But on the spirituality front, or maybe it's past lives, you've gotten exposed to a few of your past lives, or it's just yoga, or it's meditation daily, or just little smaller acts. You always have a cup of tea at 10 o'clock in the morning and kind of give thanks for the path to clear your everything and to feel new coming in. Can you describe just some of your best practices, either daily, weekly, or just what you've picked up, maybe let go of along the way?
Mhm. I grew up Catholic in a Catholic family, but like I never really went to church. They didn't go to church either. I went up to my first communion and then I never went back. And I think I don't, uh, I never really connected with it. But I feel like I am a spiritual person. I don't think that we are our bodies. I think we're our spirit. And this is just this lifetime. I believe like in reincarnation and all of that. And I always did. It was even, I remember like being young, like, and believing that. And it's not from something I watched or read or was told. It was just something in me that it just came natural, like this belief that we are here temporarily and then we go and then we come back, as someone else. And anyway, but I don't practice any religion, but I try to meditate. Um, I'm not the best at keeping, like sometimes I'm really good for months and then I go off, but I think meditation, it is something that helps. And I had many, many years ago, I was introduced to meditation for the first time by my husband, who died, by my late husband, and at TM at the time. And we did it for a few years. I left it, like, I don't know why, like, I was not into it after a while. And then some time ago, and so for years I just did my own thing. It was just sitting quiet, trying to quiet the mind. It was not no particular meditation. And then I decided to try Vipassana and to be introduced to Vipassana. Have you heard of Vipassana or done? Have you been to like a 10-day? So to be like to learn the math, you go to a retreat for a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and you learn the technique, and it's amazing. It's amazing. The experience of being 10 days in silence without you cannot even have eye contact. You cannot read, you cannot write. You're just with yourself in silence, no phone, nothing, like just it's amazing. And I went back, so I did it twice. I want to go, ideally I would go back once a year. It's like a big reset. And coming home, of course, ideally I would keep that meditation daily, right? And as I said, I'm not the best, but I find Vipassana like a good, but I think all kinds of meditation. I don't think there's one that's better than the other. If you are into it, you find the one that works for you, you know, but that's my long answer to your question.
Oh, you're doing fantastic. I love this. I'm going to light some sage a little early in the show, and this is just something if people don't know this, I usually do it on the shows and anywhere I can. Mind, body, spirit panels, there's three guests. If there's something Sylvia has already said that resonates, please put a comment below. Her background and all her details will be below the video, but comment, share, like, subscribe, whatever is good for you. And an emoji counts if you're awfully shy, which is a lot of viewers. I'm going to light some sage. You can see the lighting of it. It's California sage, juniper ridge. I think it's in all the Whole Foods, very consistent. As I light it, some people who are hypersensitive, I'd argue everybody's intuitive. If you do art or sing or anything, exercise is a form of compassion too. You might start tasting it or smelling it. Could be campfire or sage. And Sylvia will get a chance to catch sage. Maybe she'll catch flowers too. She can share whatever she wants to share out loud. The only rule or setting your intent might be just say to the universe angels, hey, help me out of my head into my heart. Let my schnoggin or my heart catch some sage. Thank you. And that's it. Um, Sylvia, do you mind telling us when you're catching a little bit of smoke sage your way in LA?
I'm in San Francisco, by the
Oh,
way.
San Francisco. Sorry, I always mess that up. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So for San Francisco from Texas, I'm in San Antonio. From sand to sand, are you getting sage yet? Smoky?
I think I got a little.
Awesome. Okay. What has truly astounded you? How do we do this? Where is a little out there for your belief system? Is the cosmos really big? The universe? Are we alone? Is it just mankind and mankind's thinking? Or is there something bigger you're tapping into? And if there is, which I think there is, can you put more words to it?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm the best person to answer this question. I mean, I do believe that, of course, the universe is in, it's not just the mankind. Of course, there are other life forms, and it's infinite. Like, but that's just my belief. Like, I think so. It makes sense to me. But what do I know? I know nothing. Like, um, I don't want you to think like that I think I know anything, because who does? I mean, we have our belief systems, but I'm not in any way um, thinking I'm an expert on what's out there. But it seems obvious to me that there are other life forms and, all of that.
I'm jumping on you for topics. You've had a lot of your pieces, your art in shows all around the world, not just the US, but United Arab Emirates, France, Spain, Italy, China, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and so on, Singapore. When you're at a local or abroad somewhere gallery exhibition, which piece, and you're going to have to describe it a little bit, have you seen the most visceral reaction and actually seen a ripple effect that today you still like laugh about or are very excited about, or it reminds you why you chose this path? What has been the most amount of love you've been able to share through your work? Which piece or sculpture or other?
Mm. I cannot think of like one particular piece. I can't, but um, it depends on the situation or in the exhibition. That has been bodies of work that have connected more deeply than others. Um, but it's hard to go back and think of the specifics like that.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know really how to answer that.
Okay. What's your favorite getaway spot to kind of recharge? Maybe not talk to anybody, but it could be still the beach, the Seychelles, locally? Is it a mountain cabin somewhere? Is it just a county away? Where do you go to get away, or what has been one of your favorite vacations in the past?
Yes. During the pandemic, I mean, I have a boyfriend for that I met just before the pandemic, and he eventually sold, but he had at the time a house in Nevada City, is near the Yuba River, like near Sacramento, that area. And so during the pandemic, every weekend we would go to this house in Nevada City near the river, and it was amazing. And at the time, my dog died 2 years ago, but at the time he was alive and he loved it. He loved the river and he thought he was fish, that dog. I always took him to the beach. He was like crazy about the water. So he had so much fun at the river. So that was definitely a place that was a favorite. But another place that when I just want to take my mind away of things, here, my backyard, I'm living a place that I'm by the bay, is like my view. I can look at my window and see the water. And it's a beautiful park with there is a lot of wild vegetation and birds from like people come from all over to see this, you know, different species of birds, and it's just at my backyard, basically. So to take a morning walk or even an evening walk, I feel like I'm really lucky to be in this spot, and I moved here because we used to live, my late husband and I, we used to live in another neighborhood in the Mission. That's it was the perfect place. I had my studio and I had our living loft just next door to each other, and it worked perfectly. And we never bought a house because that was so perfect, and we couldn't find anything like that, so we never bought anything. So my husband, he died in 2009, and in 2011, and I was hoping that my landlord would never sell that building because, I mean, where would I go? But then he told me in 2011 he was thinking of selling the building soon. He just wanted to give me a warning. And I completely panicked. And long story short, because I'm not going to bore you, I could write a book about it because it was like a crazy story. But I found this place that where I am right now. Um, I found it, I looked for it, I typed, I'm not kidding, talking about something for in the universe. I typed 6,000 square feet warehouse, San Francisco, because I wanted something ridiculous like this. And the first search, this place appeared. There are two things that was still available because you probably know San Francisco is super expensive and there's nothing available. It's like crazy. And I didn't have any I'm like, me, how can I buy anything in San Francisco? Impossible. But this place came up and it was being used as a church. It was built as a warehouse. It was being used as a church. And it was a foreclosure and it was falling apart. And it was in a part of it was in a neighborhood. This is the last sort of underdeveloped part of the city. And people think it's dangerous here. This neighborhood is called India Basin, but actually people know because it's over the hill and down south, it's Bayview Hunters Point. So it has like a reputation of being dangerous, but it's so quiet and so friendly that I cannot even tell you. Anyway, it was like the price was, I couldn't even afford that, but I put it off and I fix it up all on my own, and it's amazing. It's an amazing space, and it's by the bay. And now there's a lot of development happening. Like the park that was here when I moved, it just got extended to basically next door. Like I open my door and I fall into the park. It's crazy. So it's like it's pretty amazing
I,
what happened here. So I mean, this place is such a it's to me, it's like I almost don't want to be anywhere else, you know. Um, and I bought this place because I wanted the studio here because it's huge. But as I was fixing it up, um, I started thinking, do I really want to have the studio here? Because the reason is kind of crazy. If someone has not seen, they're going to think like, what? Why not? But the place where the studio made sense to be, I would have to block it because at the time, back in 2012, I was using a lot of toxic stuff.
Oh.
And I was here with my son, and I didn't want to be that in the open. So I would have to block my view of the bay. And then I'm like, do I really want that? And then something opened up, a studio opened up just 2 blocks down the street, is the biggest art community in the country, actually. It's called Hunters Point Shipyard Artists, like about 200 artists. And I knew about this community because when I was a welder, when I did sculpture, I used to have my studio there. And so it just happened. It was meant to be. So to go to the studio, I just like walk like 5, 10 minutes to my studio, and all my mess is over there. And when something is ready to sell or hang or whatever, I bring it over here. So this is the place when someone wants to see my work, they don't go to my studio because I don't have anything ready there. I just have works in progress. So they come to, I call this the warehouse. They come to the warehouse. So I have like 3 levels, and it's filled with art that never it's a constantly rotating thing because the work goes to shows, or I sell it or whatever. And so it's constantly rotating. So I don't even know why did I even am I
Aw,
talking about this? You
you are doing great. Okay, you're going to be put on the spot in a little bit, and there won't be any wiggle room to get out of this one in the slightest, but you're in a little bit, and I'm going to buy you tons of time. We'll do other stuff first, but I often, when I can remember, have a guest give us a mantra, a beautiful phrase. And first for you, if it could be in Portuguese, in English, but you'll have to say it 3 times. It would be something like on a t-shirt. And I'm going to give you a phrase you're not allowed to use. Art is love, and you can't use that. Or love is light, or something. It could be, it's your wisdom, though, and what you've been living, breathing, and what you try to do a transmission on to everyone else. And it may not have come to you yet. So we're going to do some stuff that maybe it will come to you, but you don't get to get out of it later. So what I'll first do is just put up an angel joy. We've done this before. And if you don't mind putting your hand up and treating her like a fireplace, feel what you can feel in your palm. Don't judge. Yep. And if you try too hard, you might get sparkles on the toes at home. People, just go ahead and put your hand out at home. No one's watching you in your apartment, at the park, or at the house. But put your hand out, feel what you can feel. Don't judge. What are you getting, Sylvia, when you do this?
I'm not sure.
Are you feeling any vibration, sparkle, energy, warmth?
Yeah, little vibration.
Okay, good enough. And if you don't mind asking a question, getting an answer silently, you don't have to share anything out loud. Just say, got it when you got it.
Uh,
Well,
what the
you can
mantra
ask,
thing?
you can, no, you can, well, you could ask about that. You could ask, hey, Joy,
No, I already know what
oh,
I'm going
good.
to
Okay.
say, but
But for her, ask her anything. Hey, what do I need to know? Or what is one more thing I forgot to talk about later in
okay.
and make sure you get a big hug, and it can be down your back, shoulders, front, right elbow, top of your head. And just tell us, where are you getting the whoosh?
It's always in my stomach.
Solar plexus.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, my intuition. It's
Yay.
always in my, you know, how there's another name for that. It's not my gut,
Yeah.
like that gut feeling.
It's your creative discipline. How about that?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Well, you kind of outed yourself here. What is that mantra? And do you mind saying it 3 times? The reason is people are going to try to go real slow and feel your vibe. And if you do it in Portuguese for us, even though I don't speak it, I bet it will sound beautiful. Do you mind also at least saying it once in Portuguese?
Yeah, so you want the Portuguese version first?
Doesn't matter. You choose. You're the artist. You tell us.
Okay. So, eu sou. Three times in Portuguese?
Three times in English will be good.
I am. I am. I am.
Ah, okay. You are super connected. Tell us a little bit more about how you love how you do it. You're an inner, fearless, peaceful warrior. And tell us just a little bit more about, was there something along the way you absolutely had to let go of? Or you've embraced something new that now it's like water off a duck's back. You always eventually remember to come right back to here and get going again, loving, doing what you do best. Talk to us about this path just a little more.
Um, yeah, like I guess I have always, even before I became an artist, I have always tried to be me, to be true to myself, right? And and I feel like I'm still that way, but by any means, I'm always like, oh my God, I'm not very nice to myself a lot. Like I'm very judgmental and hard on myself. I'm so hard on myself. And I always have to watch for that, you know. Yeah. And and I'm learning a bit every day, but I don't think I know anything.
Oh, well, that's okay. Not knowing is a beautiful way to go forward. Then everything is new and fresh, or you're always learning. We're going to do two more interactive steps and then we'll start to wrap it up. I'm just going to put my hand up in Texas and we'll see if you put your hand up in San Francisco, if you can feel the vibe. But if you don't mind saying it's less my thinking, and which I'm going to go right back to my thinking and how to pay the bills as soon as we get done. So think more love and above and a lot of angels coming in as well. Here's my hand. You can use all of you. You can put up your hand. Let me know if you're catching something from Texas, only love and above, not my cough. Just do you feel sparkle, warmth? What's the artist in you saying right now?
Uh, I'm feeling a bit vibration in my hand, but I'm not warm necessarily, but vibration, yes.
Perfect. And then one last thing. We did this before the show. I'm going to show a little bit of light. You just see a little bit of light between my fingers, but more importantly, you're going to get a dad joke that you haven't heard. We did one before the show. This is a new one and it's an easy one. What's the only flower found on the human face? And the answer, tulips.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell another answer for that joke, Iris. Someone else said Iris. So if you don't mind, hands off your chin, just be in your heart and allow, let the universe handle the whole load here. You'll see a little filament of light, and people at home, if you need extra help, breathe through your mouth. And what are you seeing between my fingers? Is it yellow, gold, white, green, four colors at once, bubbles?
I see blue.
Yay. And I'll go bigger in case you want to get a little object in there. Let angels do their thing. Let your guardian angel, your artistic angels come in. Loving beings who are always inspiring you and looking out for you. You can catch extra. You don't have to say anything out loud here, but if you do get extra and you want to share, share. All right, Sylvia, I'm putting my fingers away. Hold on. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to read one more quote, which I never got to read earlier, but it's from a NASA astronaut. I love this quote. Story Musgrave. He said, getting out of the comfortable path, that's what exploration is all about. And I feel like the whole show you've been describing this. Can you let that quote inspire you more and give us a closing of the show here? A reminder for us all to be here more as much as we can remember to remember, if we can remember, when we remember.
Yes, that's very true. And one thing I never really let fear stop me. And it doesn't mean I'm not afraid, but I do it anyway. But I always trust my intuition. And it's my intuitions in my gut. So like it's very hard to I guess to be discerning
Mhm.
like where that fear, because fear is very normal to feel like in a new project or new adventure, whatever it is, right? But where is that fear because it's a bad idea, or is it fear because it's the fear of the unknown? And so I always go to my gut, and if I have like a sickly feeling in my gut, it's not good. But if it's just that butterfly type of thing, like I really trust that. And I have always trusted my my intuition, and that really has worked out for me. And I think it's important. I don't know if how many people are in touch with their intuition, some more than others, I guess, but I think that's something that we should pay attention to. I think that's very important.
Beautiful. Silvia Poloto, Brazilian born from Brazil, and
Yeah.
yet living in San Francisco, an American, amazing artist. Thank you so much for sharing your light, your vision, and your authentic self with all of us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.